if you have been trying to lose weight, you are eating healthier, you're getting your veggies, you've got enough protein during the day, you're exercising, and nothing seems to work. The scale doesn't budge, your jeans are just as snug as last month, and often workouts are feeling harder instead of better month over month. You are not imagining this. This is a problem I see a lot with clients who have a really good foundation and are focusing on a lot of the right things, but are missing this one really important nitpicky. Now, if this does sound like you, I want to say it's fixable. Your body is not broken. It is just that what it needs now is particularly important compared to when we were in our 20s and early 30s and things were a bit easier to maintain. Now, this is you're not hitting your leucine threshold at each meal. I know. This sounds a bit finicky when you already have so many tabs open in your brain that are working on so many goals, but I promise if you focus on essentials and a couple of systems, it'll be really easy to catch. So what does that mean? Like, what is a leucine threshold? Now, leucine is one of the amino acids, and amino acids are just like the building blocks of all the proteins. So every protein is made up of one, whether it's a messenger, a muscle, a heart cell, and they are all different kind of shapes and sizes and have different roles. The important part about getting enough leucine is that it is not a per day amino acid. We need enough per meal to essentially turn on muscle protein synthesis. And what that means is we are kind of dialing up your body's ability to regenerate muscle, to build muscle after workouts, and make sure that we're not breaking muscle down, which is a really normal thing if we've got a calorie deficit, stress, or not enough sleep. And so we want to think about getting enough leucine as not as so much the building block like most amino acids, but more of a light switch versus a dimmer. So if you don't get over that threshold per meal, you're not going to properly activate that muscle protein synthesis, and that is going to slow your fat loss for a bunch of reasons. So when we have enough, your energy status is adequate, we're going to protect muscle, we're going to grow it. All of that means that we are going to burn more calories because muscle is a very active tissue, and we're going to feel stronger, healthier, less hungry over time. So all good things. But when we are not regularly meeting those, so at our meals, at least 3 or 4 per day, we're blunting that muscle growth. We are also not going to offset the natural loss of muscle that happens throughout the day. And as we kind of lose that muscle density over time, we lower our metabolic rate or our natural calorie burn, which means you're going to be eating less and less, trying to get that weight off, and you're going to be burning fewer and fewer calories, meaning it's not going anywhere. And that's one of the primary reasons we see rebound weight gain in a lot of the research on weight loss, especially in women, especially in both men and women over 35, where bodies are fussier. Now, this matters even more if you're in perimenopause and if you're a woman, mid-30s and up. You probably are. It's an 8 to 15-year spectrum. But that's because declining estrogen normally supports muscle and insulin sensitivity. And so the less we have of it, the more important it is that we're turning that light switch on really regularly throughout the day. It also, that estrogen is going to increase our kind of anabolic, that building, system. And again, we're going to have to offset that with getting enough leucine on top of enough protein per day. We also get a fairly big uptick in cortisol, both because of that declining estrogen and just where we are. So we're more stressed, we're getting less sleep, our lives are very full. And so typically our exposure to our stress hormone is a little higher. And when it is that high, we are pushed into catabolism or breaking down muscle unless we're hitting that switch really regularly. So the beauty here is that you have a lot of control over offsetting some of those things that changing bodies and changing hormones can make really tough. In order to make fat loss easier by keeping that metabolic rate high and protecting that muscle mass we need so much, you'll want to focus on 2 main things. Number 1 is going to get enough protein at each meal, ideally 3 meals and 1 protein snack, to keep that leucine pool full and that muscle light switch turned on. That's going to look like at least 30 grams of protein at each meal, and you might need more than that for optimal daily protein intake. It's a great place to start. The second is going to be to make sure you're having a complete protein source or combining a couple proteins to do so at each of those meals, because some of the most common kind of healthy proteins like collagen powder, your legumes, so your chickpeas, beans, lentils, stuff like that, don't actually have a lot of leucine in them naturally. And so on their own are not great main protein sources. They're a good booster, and they can be combined with other foods to get you up over that 30 grams, but making sure we've got better sources. Your animal proteins, your chicken, fish, meat are great sources. Eggs, Greek yogurt, if you're having enough of them, will all do it. And the email that goes along with this video, I'll make sure to include some specific portions so you know what you're aiming for and can make that really easy adjustment to nail that leucine threshold, turn that muscle protein synthesis light switch on, and really just make it easier to keep metabolic rate high muscle up there. So losing weight gets easier instead of harder over time. The big PSA here is that trying to cobble together a really clear picture of what to focus on when it comes to getting leaner and stronger at this age for now, but also to keep it up decades to come, you've got life to live. It's tough to DIY, and that's because there's so many influencers and even health professionals who are focusing on really old school fat loss advice and muscle gain advice based on research on college age men, which, let's be honest, doesn't apply to women at this stage, certainly those who are active and have a good foundation. So your body responds differently because it is different, not because you're doing it wrong, not because you're broken, and it's certainly not too late. You are just missing some of the key pieces to make it work for the stage you're at now. And that's a big reason why Sasha and I created Thrive After 35. It is the brainchild of all of the most important nutrition and exercise pieces that women in their 30s, 40s, and 50s need to build the muscle to make fat loss easier, to feel really good in your skin and not have to fight the body you have anymore. And if that is something that interests you, I will share a link below. We are registering for February 2026. And if you have missed it and you're catching this late, you can also, if